Hey, welcome back to the Equipped Brews Tired podcast. I'm here with Bryce, of course. Um, just end of another week and another episode that we're pretty excited to release to you guys.
hmm
We'll get to that in a few minutes. But how's life out there in the mountains?
It's good. We tried to go hiking yesterday, and I'm sure anybody that follows me on Instagram would have seen my 120 kilos of twisted steel and sex appeal post holing through like chest high snow, trying to make it up the side of the mountain. We were not successful, which is kind of a bummer. We ended up turning around because it just became more and more and more of that, and a lot less of any kind of trail. So yeah, but I guess it's good to know that I can still kind of hang. I haven't lost all of my hiking capacity. I can still go. I just go a little slower. But
Was
yeah,
Selena just dancing across the snow and
not quite. No,
no?
it was a whole lot on both sides. I think Bronson was because my dog Bronson is pretty short, so he was like bounding through the post holes, all four paws in the air kind of thing. It was we had a good time, regardless of not making it to the top of the trail. We had a great time. So,
That's what matters.
and I didn't hurt myself. My
That's
calves a
what really
little
matters.
sore today from like getting my feet twisted in post holes, but yeah, I should still be able to squat tomorrow, so I'm happy about that.
Good
How's your
times.
week and weekend? You didn't have the greatest training session the last time I talked to you.
Yeah, you know, it's been one of those training
Mm-hmm.
cycles, but
Mm-hmm.
we added back in regular training. So I did sumo on Monday, and it was fine. It was light, just trying to reintroduce it. But then when I went to squat again on Wednesday, I tweaked my adductor again. So kind of feel like it's something to do with sumo proximity to squatting. So I don't know if I'm what I'm doing. So Mike wants me to do some Copenhagen planks, which I didn't know what the heck was. I had
Mm-hmm.
actually looked that up.
That's where you
Um,
like pop one leg up on top of the bench and then try to like clamp your other leg up
yeah,
to it,
it's like
right?
a static adductor
Mm.
contraction.
Right.
So started doing those yesterday at home and did them pre-workout today, and yeah, they're not pleasant.
I was gonna
So
say,
I
how do
don't know.
those make you feel?
Maybe they'll help. I was able to lots of times the first week back or the first day back squatting after tweaking my adductor, I wouldn't be able to squat at all. So, oh yeah, so today I was able to work up to like a 200 kilo. I was pausing them slightly in the bottom for a set of 5. I just didn't want to hit that like stretch reflex kind of stretch contraction at the bottom to keep the adductor happier.
Yeah, is
And
that
it
kind of where
wasn't.
you tend to like where it tends to bother you is right when you get that like rebound?
Yeah, I think so. So I was trying to be careful with that, and it seemed okay. I'm not going to say it was a full success because I started feeling the pain on that last set, but
Mm.
hopefully I didn't make it worse. I think I'll probably do conventional deadlifts tomorrow. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I don't know. It's and then my shoulder's been um, bugging me. Lots of times this happens when I start pushing my raw bench.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of catches up to me, and so I was able to bench up to like a decent single 205 today, but
Nice.
the drop back sets just hurt. So I kind of
Yeah.
cut those short and tried to walk away feeling okay. But yeah, I don't know. It's raw stuff. Raw stuff's beating me up. So
Yeah. It's time to get back in the equipment, man.
gotta get something back on, slingshot even or something to hold
Yeah.
me together.
Some knee wraps maybe. I don't know. Does that
Yeah,
I don't know if that would help your adductor at all, but
yeah. I don't know.
it would
I don't.
feel nice.
I haven't done any like just knee wrap stuff since working with Mike. So
Hmm. Cool. And
how about you?
yeah, training's been it was another like really good week of training. Got up to 285 single on my raw squat, which is like 10 kilos less than the same raw squat I hit in the last 3 raw competitions I've done. So approaching some of the heaviest squatting I've done since 2016 without equipment, right? So I mean that's kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm.
If things align, we'll see. I might just need to like load up 317 and just see if it's there. If I don't think it's there, I won't. But
Is
man, it would be
315 your
nice.
best?
Yeah, it would be nice to hit a raw PR for the
Was
first
that at
time. It
Worlds? Worlds in
was nationals actually.
Okay.
I think it might have been Regina Nationals.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, But yeah, bench continues to progress. I just add weight to every single bench variation I'm doing every single week right now, and it's going nuts. Deadlifts felt better this week than the week before. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm doing okay. Feeling no more banged up than usual. I got a couple aches and pains and just normal stuff, but yeah, feeling pretty all right.
That's good. Yeah, I'm getting close to the end of this block, so I don't know. We'll see what we do. I think I should have maybe. Well, I would guess Mike probably cuts it off after this week with my shoulder flaring up, but we'll see where he decides to go if he's not in middle transition and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Yeah. And we don't have any questions this week, you said, right?
No, nothing. Just comments, positive comments on YouTube and stuff. And
well, that's nice.
So yeah, nothing. No burning questions.
If anybody out there is listening and has questions for us, we'd love to answer them. So you can email us at equippedbruisedtired@gmail.com, right?
That's right.
Or you can just drop one in the YouTube comments if you're watching this YouTube styley. So our interview today was with Marte Elverum, and she is a Norwegian powerlifter. She's been competing for about 12 years. Took a second overall at Open Worlds, two different times she did that. She's been competing internationally since 2011, held multiple world records, and currently holds the 72 kilo deadlift world record at 249.5 kilos. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was really, I think, interesting to hear the shift in sort of the part of the Norwegian coaching system that she's been on the ride for, going from a very much more structured system into, what she's sort of evolved her training into now, talking a lot about how much more fresh and healthy she feels these days. And yeah, it was a great conversation, I thought. So I'm really excited to toss it over there. And without any further ado, we'll get to that conversation here. Cool. So how are you, Marta?
I'm doing good. Considering what's happening in the world, I'm doing very good.
Good. That's good.
Yeah.
I guess we'll start off with like a formal welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on and chatting and hanging out with us. But yeah, so what's it like there? What's your situation like? How are you dealing with all this stuff?
Well, today actually, the government started softening up. So we're slowly getting back to more normal and opening up schools. Gyms are opening in June, around 15th, I think.
Okay.
So it's getting back to normal. But let's just hope it lasts.
Yeah.
For me, it hasn't been a big change, to be honest.
Okay.
This semester I'm writing my master thesis.
Okay.
So, I'm just home writing anyways, not seeing too much people.
Okay.
And I have my home gym, so it hasn't been a big change for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
It would have been worse if I was working, I guess.
Yeah.
But now I would just be home in my office anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's good, I guess. You got a decent home gym set up?
Yeah, I do. I get to do whatever I need here. So that's luxury.
Yeah. It's quite nice.
What are you doing your master's thesis in?
I'm doing societal safety and risk management.
Oh.
So I'm writing about something called crew resource management, which is a training concept for pilots.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is kind of geeky though.
Is that why you were front squatting on a like boat? That photo, I was looking through your Instagram today and I saw you like holding a bar in a front squat on some sort of like helicopter carrier or aircraft carrier or something.
Yeah, that was no, it's not in relation to that, but that was when I was working offshore last summer and the summer before. Probably not going to be happening this summer thanks to COVID.
Right.
But I've been really lucky to get to work as a personal trainer actually offshore.
Okay.
So working with the physical health of people in emergency positions offshore. So that's been
pretty
really
awesome.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
I got
imagine
the
that'd be
front
pretty exciting.
squats on the heli deck.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, I was like, I think I need a little bit more context for this photo.
Yeah, it's really strange squatting on a boat though.
I was gonna ask,
Even
so yeah, tell us maybe a little bit about that. Do you do some of your training while you're there?
well, I did because last summer I went there. I think it was 2 weeks or the week before nationals.
Oh, okay.
So I did my last heavy training there.
So you're doing heavy equipped squats on a boat.
No, that was for raw nationals. So
Oh, okay, okay.
it's just regular training. So it worked out, and I don't know. The only big difference that I noticed was my calves got really sore because
okay.
there's so much stabilizing you have to do
Mhm.
when squatting on a boat. And it was pretty calm though, so it was safe to squat. But when it's really rough out there, it's not a good place to be squatting.
Yeah, you just wouldn't do your training that day, hey?
Well, you would have to do something else. Maybe the Smith machine, even though that's not very good. But it would be better than not squatting at all, I guess.
Absolutely, totally.
People,
Go ahead, Ryan.
people spend a lot of money on those like earthquake bars, or what's that one that's going around right now? The one that Ray Williams is squatting with. That super whippy one. I can't remember what it was called, but like it's just like a noodle over his back sort of thing. Those are like $600 for those, so you have to do it for free on a boat, I guess.
Just go on a boat.
Yeah.
Oh, even though it does cost you, I don't know how many thousands of dollars it costs you to do the safety training to be allowed to go offshore, though.
Right,
Okay,
there's
the
some
bar is
trade-offs
cheaper.
then.
Yeah, it might be better to just buy one of those things if you're into that, I guess.
Yeah, if you're that adamant on getting a wobbly bar experience.
Yeah, sure.
So to start off with, maybe we'll just kind of get a quick bit of background on your lifting and sort of, how long have you been lifting? What got you into the sport? Tell us a little bit about how you came up through powerlifting and got into equipment and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I started powerlifting in 2008, which is 12 years. Wow, that sounds, I sound old now, but well, I started because I was doing martial arts. I was doing MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I don't think I reflected on it, but I was only fighting with guys. There was only guys in the gym, and I felt so weak.
Okay.
I thought I had to be the weakest girl in the world because, fighting a guy, it's hard.
Yeah.
So I was on this forum and asked people like, "Hey, how do you get strong?" And then someone said, "Well, you have to do powerlifting, and you can just come to this place." Like, okay. So I just showed up, and that was KK67, my club today.
Yeah.
So I just showed up there and started training there. But I was like, no, I'm just going to train here to get stronger because I want to fight. And that was my initial thought. But then the guys were like, well, you're actually pretty strong, so why don't you just compete at regionals? Because you're really close to the record. And back then, it wasn't, there was only equipped. And I thought it was so stupid. I was like, yeah.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah, I started out like a real hater because I just thought it was so silly and I just didn't understand why do you bother? So the first record I set was actually raw, but an equipped record.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For 67.5 sub-junior, I guess. I think I was 17.
Right. So this was pretty early on. You figured out you were pretty good at this stuff?
Yeah, I think I did. I think I got a training program which was like 12 or 16 weeks. And that was before the meet. So I think I had powerlifted for about 16 weeks or something when I did the first meet. And that was actually the first meet I've ever been to. So I had no clue what was going to happen. I just showed up and, okay, tell me what to do.
And you did this first meet all raw?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And did you have a
All
coach going into it, or did you just kind of just
Well,
figure it out?
No, I had a coach at the club that was writing a program for me. And then I had a coach that's a strongman in Norway. That was like, I don't know, 170 kilos and huge guy with tattoos and everything. And today that wouldn't be very welcomed, to be honest.
Okay. Because of the difference in sport or because of his tattoos?
Because of you're not the VADA code, basically.
Right.
Oh, right.
You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Supplementation.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that back then.
Right.
So
At that point.
he's a really good guy, and he helped me and told me to like go lift that thing. I was like, okay. But I had great support from the beginning.
Good.
And I mean, I think I was so lucky that I started when I did, because I got so much help and so much attention as a girl coming into the sport, because there were basically no girls back then, especially in Norway. I think I was the second girl in my gym or something. So whenever I started lifting, if I would have started today, I wouldn't be counted as a talent or anything at all, because I think the record I set was 135 kilos, which is nothing today. You have, you have sub juniors coming in and pulling like 200 kilos the second time they're coming in. I mean, it's crazy today.
Yeah.
If I would have started today, I would probably just, I don't know. I don't know if I would have stuck around for so long. I don't know.
So do you ever miss fighting, or is that part just kind of gone?
No, I still miss it. I can't watch MMA because then I just want to do that and not powerlift.
Well, I heard you may have had some fights with some of your powerlifting teammates. I heard you wrestle with Kim Reno.
Yeah.
And maybe you tapped him out, I heard, maybe?
Twice.
Yeah. Which is pretty good, because he's 83 kilos or 74 kilos.
He was 74 then, and now he's 83.
So, he's not a small guy.
No. But in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's a lot about technique.
Right.
So you have to know how to submit a person to submit it,
Right.
Yeah.
But I decided to, or it was actually a coincidence, because I hurt my knee. I was going to European Open in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and training towards that, I just hurt my knee. Tore, not completely tear, but tore my ligament. And I couldn't fight anymore, but I could still squat and deadlift. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm just going to try and see what I can do. Because everyone was just like, oh, you're so talented. You have to compete in powerlifting, and you make the national team, and you'll travel the world, and blah, 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 blah. I was like, yeah, sure. And then I decided, like, okay, let's just see what happens. And 10 years later, I'm still waiting to see what happens.
That's awesome. So like you kind of went from that first meet, and after that, was that you're pretty much set on kind of dedicating yourself to this, or once you had some success, you got that taste of it, you did that kind of open things up, or were you still a little bit hesitant at first, or did you start just seeing those records falling and getting hungrier and hungrier?
No, not at all, actually. I went straight back to fighting. Because this was late. This was like October 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And I hurt my knee January 2010.
Okay.
So during that time, I tried to do both. I thought I would do like the best of both,
Mm-hmm.
trying to combine it. And I was a student at that time, but I didn't really study. I just had like 12, 15 trainings a week.
Oh, wow.
And, I didn't progress very well, even though I was a beginner in powerlifting, because I was training so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it was just my body saying stop when I hurt my knee as well.
Yeah.
So that was when I decided to try to make the national team. And then I got into equipped lifting because I had to. There was no choice. There was no raw
Right.
team back then, you know. You were
Yeah.
kind of forced into it. Didn't love it from the start, but it really grew on me.
Yeah.
And
What was the turning point there? What made you eventually fall in love with it? Can you
I
figure out?
fell in love. That was probably the thing with the powerlifter that was really into equipped lifting.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. That'll do
So
it.
I think that was one of the, turning points
Yeah.
that helped me shift the mentality and think of gear as something fun. So he helped me a lot. And also, I came more into contact with other people that were on the national team and, said to me, like, you have to try it. You can't just hate on it and not try it, Like, okay, I'm just going to try and then still trying.
So of all the places you've been, one of the first worlds, maybe the first worlds, I can't remember for sure,
Canada.
was Moose Jaw. Exactly.
It was.
That was the first meet we ran. Our group
Yeah.
ran internationally. So how does that rank up there as far as all of the amazing places you've seen in the world?
Moose Jaw as a city or whatever you call it.
It's a city. It's a city.
Okay. I remember trucks and fields, and I remember Rhea winning, and there were so many people in the crowd when she was competing. I remember there was like national TV. It was really good, and that was the first international competition or first worlds I did, and it was so fun to see her compete and going against Ukrainian, wasn't it, or Russian?
Russian, yeah.
Yeah, and she got overturned her last deadlift, didn't she? And then Rhea won.
The Russian dropped her last deadlift, I think.
She dropped? No, she did. Are you sure?
Yeah, we actually actually went back to watch you were lifting there just so I could kind of remember because I didn't know you actually lifted there, and then so I brought up Rhea's lifting, so we watched her through it, and yeah, the Russian Olga, just hard missed her. Yeah, she missed it like right at lockout sort of thing.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember it was like really close.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was cool.
The competition was really good. I don't remember much from Moose Jaw though.
That's it. There's not much here to remember. Trucks and fields. Yeah, that sounds right.
Fields, yeah. Ironically enough, that was where I was born and raised too, was in Moose Jaw. Despite living elsewhere, yeah, that was where I did my first meet. Yeah.
He got out.
Or national meet.
What's that?
We have that. I was about to say we have that in common, but it was my first international meet though. So.
Yeah. So I found it interesting. You're talking about you used to be an MMA fighter. When you come out onto the platform for your deadlifts, you're pretty aggressive. You're pretty vocal. Like, is that something that comes from that same side of yourself? Is that like something that you do in training? Or is it a kind of reserved for competition? And how do you use that to kind of get yourself into the right headspace? Because you don't seem like you really want to yell and scream right now. You know what I mean? It's interesting to see the two sides, I think.
Yeah, well, I think I would have a big issue if I was going around screaming like that all the time.
Yeah,
just
I agree. Yeah,
living
be a little
my
weird.
life, that would be a problem. A little bit weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do really like to get aggressive. It really helps my lifting to get into the zone. I was actually, funny thing today, I was because our national constitutional day is coming up.
Okay.
So I was washing the silver on my national suit today, and I used ammonia to wash it. I was like, oh, deadlifts. It really took me back. I was like, oh, I hope we're gonna get to compete soon.
Yeah.
So
totally.
yeah, but I really like getting fired up. I think that I get a lot of or some kilos out of it to just lose my mind, I guess, not to think too much and not overanalyze or anything.
Totally.
Just to get to the right kind of anxiety level or arousal, basically.
Yeah. Is that something that you did when you were fighting as well?
No, not at all.
You didn't walk out and like scream at whoever you were gonna fight?
No, I didn't do any fights though.
Oh, okay.
It was just in training and stuff.
Okay.
No, I don't think I've ever gotten vocal in that context, actually.
Okay.
It's very different because it's especially Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's very chilled out.
Right.
It's really calm, and it's a lot more thinking than you would actually think.
Mm-hmm.
But lifting is, it's getting a weight from A to B. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
So you can have more arousal as well.
Right. So is that something that you use in training as well, or do you kind of reserve that for competition, or what are your thoughts on that?
I try to use it in training as well, but sometimes I find it hard to get into the right zone.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of help from Lil Jon.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Usually gets me fired up.
Awesome. And that actually, honestly,
So,
that leads like right into one of my other questions, because I've seen you mention gangster rap and different rap artists before. What are your maybe top like 3 rap songs for getting amped up? And are there other genres and other types of music that get you there, or is it pretty much just Lil Jon?
It depends on what I need. Usually
Okay.
it's Lil Jon.
Okay.
Lil Jon, Throw It Up is like ultimate one.
All right.
But also Lil Jon, Stop. Can I cuss on this thing?
Sure.
Stop fucking with me.
Okay.
It's a really good one.
Yeah.
If you're having a bad day, you can totally relate. But it depends on the mood or the kind of training I'm in. I also like a lot of Russian like war songs.
Okay. I don't know that I've ever heard a Russian war song. Is that like a symphonic kind of thing? Or okay, yeah, send me some. Perfect.
It's the Red Russian Army Choir.
Okay.
That's used or back in the day when there was war and stuff, They used the choir to amp up the soldiers and whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's just for just saying get your shit together, basically.
Right.
Because sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm only lifting weights. It's moving some weight from A to B. It's not something, you're not going to war. I hate when people say like, oh, we're going to war for a competition. It's like, no, you're not going to war.
Absolutely.
You're competing in a sport. I mean,
absolutely. We're not going to like die and go to Valhalla, and we're not Vikings and etc. I mean, you might have more claim to that than the rest of us, but it's just not that dramatic. I don't think. I totally agree with that sentence.
So that's for the days when I have to like put things in context and just say, hey, suck it up, just get the job done. And Lil Jon is for those days that I just need to get fired up, basically.
Awesome. I like that. As somebody who relies or leans really heavily on music as well, I can relate to that very much.
Are you more the rock type or?
Yeah, a lot of metal, a lot of rap too. So maybe I'll put some Lil Jon on my playlists and see how that works for me. But mostly metal stuff.
He used to be a lead singer of a metal band.
I did, yes. I did all the screaming, growling, grunting, etc.
I thought you meant Lil Jon now. I was like, no, I don't think so.
No, very different music.
Yeah. So do you still sing?
Sometimes in my car on the way to the gym if I'm listening to something really good and it it hits just right, but very, very rarely. I think my wife once complained that she's never seen me actually do it, but she has seen me rap full Kendrick Lamar songs, which she thought was really weird. given that that's not what I used to do. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm very good at it anymore. So
I think you should sing on this podcast sometime.
we'll see. We'll see.
Talent show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna rap some verses for us then?
I'm a terrible rapper, and even more terrible as a singer. I have no talents except for lifting, I guess.
Well, I mean, that's a good one. It got you here, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So switching gears a little bit, you posted just 2 days ago pulling conventional, I think for 180 kilos. And you mentioned in there that it's been a long time since you pulled conventional raw because of injuries and stuff like that. So what was the injury that was holding you back? And what's the process kind of been like, kind of bringing it back into your training? And are you thinking about keeping conventional into the future, or do you still think you're probably a better competition sumo puller sort of thing?
You guys did your research, because I'm pretty sure I wrote that text in Norwegian.
Oh yeah,
This is a translate function.
Instagram will translate.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you observed correctly. I think it was yesterday, I think. Yeah. I think it was in 2017. I got a small tear in my adductor magnus, which was getting worse and worse when pulling conventional. It was bad pulling sumo as well, but it didn't hurt my strength so much in sumo. So just to try to mitigate that injury, we stopped pulling conventional basically for quite some time. And 2018 was not a good year. 2019 wasn't a very good year either. So now I'm as injury free as I've been. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I was this injury free, to be honest. So now I'm finally able to pull conventional again. So I hope to do some good numbers conventional as well. But as competition style, I think I will continue with sumo. I have this theory that you have to build up strength, like real brutal strength with conventional, and then you get that carryover into sumo. And since my deadlift hasn't really evolved much the last 2 years, I feel like I've used up the conventional strength that I had, if you know what I mean. So now I have to go and get more conventional strength that I can like put back in my sumo. So hopefully with some training now and in going into worlds, hopefully, that will help my conventional. My competition sumo as well, because I don't think I will pull like 250 plus conventional just putting on a suit. That would be terrible, I think.
Tripped conventional is rough.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever made it to the bar in a deadlift suit conventional.
No. I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna try even, because.
I respect that.
Yeah.
So why do you think you're so healthy right now? What do you think has contributed to you being able to say that you don't remember a time you were this injury free? Has there been some changes in your training or how you're approaching things?
Big changes in both, actually. And up until now, I always trained on a very set program. And you always feel like you have to do everything, you have to cross out everything, and no pain, no gain, whatever. You just like bulldoze through and get the job done. And you think, as long as you do that, as long as you do everything that's on the plan, you have to get better, right? Even though you're training through a lot of pain and whatever. But training through a lot of pain really inflicted my motivation as well, which I struggled with both in 2018 and 19, to be honest. So I had to switched things up a little bit. So now I have decreased the frequency.
Okay.
Because the Norwegian model is, you squat 5-6 times a week. Now I squat 2, maybe 3, whatever I feel like. Same with bench, and I'm deadlifting twice a week, pretty much. And I'm trying to be more relaxed in my approach to training. It's like, okay, if I don't finish everything this week, I don't have to look at it as 1 week. I can look at it as, especially now when we don't know we're going to compete anyway. So if I don't finish it this week, it just goes on. It doesn't have to be within the week from Monday to Sunday.
Right.
So I think I changed a lot of the training and also my perspective on it. I'm tired of so much pain. But you have to think about the pain as well. Is it just soreness, that kind of pain? That's comfortable pain. But is it pain that is going to lead to an injury? That's not very good. It's going to set you back. And what I've learned is that you're not gonna get stronger with a body that's not healthy.
Right. So are you directing your own programming right now? Or have you worked with the Norwegian coaches to kind of scale things back for yourself?
I've switched. I think that was a part of the problem as well, that I switched trainers like 2017, 18, a little bit back and forth and just a little bit mess.
Okay.
And the approach that I have now is that the Norwegian national coach has set up a plan for me with how many sets and reps should I do on a given week.
Okay.
And what RER should I hit, or RPE. So I regulate much more. But he still controls how many sets and reps should I do and what intensity. But if I feel like, for instance, the 6 reps on 180 kilos wasn't on the program, it said to do 3 on 177 or something, but I just switch it up a little bit and do what I feel like.
Yeah.
I think it works for me now, because I'm getting to, I'm kind of experienced in this lifting thing, and I know my body better now, and I'm also more, I wouldn't say confident, but not so, I wouldn't feel so bad if I skipped a training or a set or whatever. I still have belief that I can progress.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I really like that sentiment. I think, like, it sounds like adding in a little bit of even just your own agency to kind of affect the training and, do a little bit more on a good day, a little bit less on a bad day. I mean, that's really cool that has had a positive impact on your training.
Yeah, it has.
So you mentioned Worlds, I think, and kind of the ifs and those kinds of things about when we're all going to compete again. You are helping organize Worlds in some capacity, correct?
I'm close
or
to
you're
the
a part of
to
the
the
team?
committee.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
close to the committee because I'm home where I'm from, but I live in Stavanger usually.
Mhm.
So I'm close to the committee, and I know everyone is excited for what's going to happen, and maybe excited isn't the right word, but insecure. But the committee is working as if everything is going to plan. And just received the news today that they're going to host sub-juniors and juniors as well.
Yeah, saw that.
So they're also, monitoring the situation, keeping close contact with the municipality and with IPF and everything. So I'm confident that they will organize very, very good competition given the circumstances. and hopefully there won't be any factors that we can control that will stop it. Right now, the borders are shut. You won't get into Norway, so that would have to change. But it looks positive now. Our prime minister said that she wants to open the borders before summer.
Okay.
So hopefully there won't be too many restrictions when we're approaching November. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm a little bit worried what the situation is going to be, because you're not going to have a vaccine by then. And you have experts talking about, different waves coming in.
Yeah.
So now we're just, finishing off the first wave, maybe. Who knows if and when there's going to be a second wave or a third wave. We don't know. There's so much insecurity, and we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited at the prospect of being able to come and visit. My wife Celine and I were, going to plan to take a good little vacation there and come and enjoy and tour around a little bit and stuff. So we're really hoping we're still able to do that. So yeah, pretty excited at the prospect of that.
I really hope it goes as planned. And you didn't go to 2013 Worlds?
No.
Ryan, you were.
Yeah, we were.
You hadn't started lifting yet, Bryce.
I started in 2012, so I would have been lifting for a
okay.
year. I definitely hadn't gotten into the equipment yet, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that year Team Canada was me and Rhea in Norway. So
big team.
Yeah, big team. It's still one of my favorite worlds, though. It's probably one of the coolest environments, and just the music and lights they had set up was just, and even it's a weird thing for me to rave about, but the control of the back room. As a meet director myself, I hate meets that have no control for coaches and stuff, and they did it so well there, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to hopefully coming back. So hopefully.
I just hope that everything can be as close to normal, that we can have the audience there, and we can have the same atmosphere that we did in 2013, because that's it is my best memory from powerlifting is lifting in Stavanger 2013, and re-experiencing that would be amazing.
Well, I remember, I think is it Heidi Hildeberg that's from Stavanger?
Hildeberg, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. And I remember the crowd when she was lifting was just insane. It was just so loud in there.
They had to tell the speaker, can you please make the audience be quiet when she benches, because she can't hear the commands.
Right, and she benched a world record there, didn't she? 222 or something?
Something like that.
It was crazy.
Yeah, so she's been coming back now from a really nasty injury that she got while lifting in 2016 Europeans. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a video out of it as well. It looks terrible. She loses control on the top on her bench, and the spotters don't catch it. So she rips her elbow out.
Oh.
So she's gone through I think she's been through 2 surgeries and rehab and everything just to come back so she can lift in Stavanger 2020. So hopefully everything goes as planned.
Yeah. So right there, you touched on something that we usually ask everybody, but you said that lifting at that Stavanger 2013 Worlds was your favorite memory in powerlifting. Can you walk us through that a little bit and tell us what that was like and why it was such an awesome experience for you, and how the meet went for you and those kinds of things?
It was the best experience I've had, and I think it's a lot of factors that come into play. First of all, it was a very good organized meet, even though I'm biased, of course. But it was very well organized. And I mean, they had a DJ, and I talked to the DJ. I was like, can you please play my song? You know, Lil Jon, Throw It Up. And he was
nice.
like, yeah. And he was like, no, sorry, because we can't do like custom songs for everyone. And it would be unfair if we just did it for you. And I was like, really, really sad. And I think he saw that. He's like, but if I can play it for every Norwegian, I can do it for you too, okay? Like, okay. So he played Lil Jon Throw It Up and mixed it up when I was coming into squat, and for all my lifts. It was just, you know, that alone would make my day.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And then you also had, I remember my first squat because we were lifting together with the 63s, and then 63s first, and then 72s. And you could just hear the audience, even though I had my headphones on. You could just hear the audience when a Norwegian walked out. I was like, are you serious? So I remember walking out from my first squat, and I was just like terrified because there was so much noise and so much people there. And I lost balance. I think I was just like so thrown off from everything that I was like overwhelmed from my first squat.
Okay.
But then I came back and I did, and I think I PR'd total.
Okay.
And I was close to getting the gold medal in deadlift actually, but I pulled it and then I fell on my ass. So close, but
not
no
a good day for balance.
No, it wasn't. But it was. I was still a junior competing at Open World, so that was really huge as well. To be given the trust to compete there as a junior, it was really big.
That's awesome. That sounds like a great time. Do you think they'll have Lil Jon at Worlds in Norway in 2020 if it happens? Is that going to be like on your rider in order for you to show up? Like...
I'll make sure. I don't know who I have to, you know, talk to or whatever, but I'll make sure.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll be looking forward to that as well. So we dug into an AMA that you did in 2016 on Reddit. Do you remember? You remember doing that? I imagine, vaguely at least.
Yeah, I remember doing it, but I don't remember anything that I said.
That's okay. We remember.
Okay.
So anyways, at that time in 2016, you said that Norway was really lucky to have Dietmar. Did your opinion change at all about that? And how do you feel sort of now that he's left to coach Germany? What are your thoughts on that whole sort of changing of position and those kinds of things?
He is still employed in Norway as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
No. But yeah, there were some issues that didn't get resolved the best way. And he was a very, very good coach in many ways. But after a while, I experienced personally that he didn't take into account what I said, and with injuries and whatever, and maybe I felt it wasn't as customized as I was used to.
Okay.
But he is a very good coach and has done so much for Norwegian powerlifting. Mm-hmm. Since he moved to Norway in the 90s, he's made powerlifting in Norway what it is today. So thanks to him, we are in the top when it comes to equipped powerlifting.
Totally.
Well, there's a beginning and an end for everything. And now we have our national coach, which was up until Dietmar resigned, our junior coach, turned now into our open coach. And he's very good, and he's very, very forward-thinking and into the latest research. And this is the first time we're training RPE, for instance.
Mhm.
I think a lot of lifters, including myself, the reason that I feel the way I do with what I mentioned earlier, with that I have to complete everything within the week, because that was Dietmar's way. You had a
Right.
program that was set, and if you deviated from that, that wasn't very good.
Right. Okay.
So you really felt that you should do what says here, and not anything more, not anything less.
Right.
So we got really used to following a program, just checking off, not thinking too much yourself as lifter,
Yeah.
not feeling and thinking and reflecting, I guess. But as we've seen now with research and more new approaches, more RPE, more flexibility, that direction is more right for me personally.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that want to have like a rigid program and just, follow the recipe as well. But I think the modern approach is more, regulate yourself, like RPE based, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so the reason we're very curious about I got a lot of questions about Dietmar and his secret sauce and his CYC and that whole thing. They're like, how do you do that? Like people are really curious about his methods. So I think that's the big reason that we asked Stian about him as well. But it's just interesting because, again, as North Americans, we don't necessarily have a sort of team coach that handles everything, or a junior coach. We all have our individual coaches, and then on game day we'll have our sort of national coach or coaches step in at that point. But yeah, it's just kind of something that we're not used to. So I'm curious a lot of the times about how those kinds of systems operate and how they work for everybody. So just lifting the veil a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see now, because we are switching up our model.
Okay.
Before, when Dietmar was the national coach, it was you didn't have any option. If you were going to be in the national team, he was your coach, period.
Right.
And there's a lot of good things with that, and some things aren't so good if that coach isn't right for you,
Totally. Yeah.
So some people loved his training and some people didn't. And that's the issue when you have one coach for everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The upside is that you get to have like the team feeling. You have the same coach in training as you do on international meets, and there's a lot of advantages with it as well. But now we are moving into a model that's more similar to, I don't know, if your model or the American model, where we have one national coach, and if you're on the national team, you can choose to be trained by him, or you can choose to be trained by someone else. But you still have to report to the coach, national coach. So he has to know what you're doing and whatever, to have some control. But it's more open now, and we'll just have to see what's the the best way. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a step forward for sure, because I think, like you said, you're often going to have people that kind of mesh with the coach, and other people that maybe don't. So I think that little bit of freedom is probably, hopefully anyways, going to be a positive thing.
So I'm going to change gears a little bit here again. Going back to that Reddit, Ava, you described yourself as a big coffee geek. And as someone who personally enjoys really good coffee, what's something you think everyone should do to make better coffee?
First of all, start off with the beans. Buy really good fresh beans. I used to actually work in a small coffee roastery, so I used to roast beans myself.
Mm-hmm.
So you get really spoiled when you have good beans, and if you don't have good beans, you don't have good coffee. That's first of all. And second of all, it depends what kind of coffee you want. Do you want espresso? Do you want regular black coffee? If you want regular black coffee, you would have to go buy an AeroPress or V60. You probably know this, right? I know you're a coffee geek too, right?
I'm a moderate coffee geek. I don't own an AeroPress though, so
You don't have AeroPress?
no.
You
An
should.
aspiring coffee geek, maybe.
Yeah, AeroPress is the most honest way to make coffee.
Most
And
honest
by
way.
honest, yeah, the honest, and by that I mean it's so honest. If you have good coffee, the coffee is going to be amazing. I mean, if you have good beans.
Right.
If you have shit beans, the coffee is going to be terrible. So it's a very honest way. So if you have really high quality fresh beans, you have to have an AeroPress to really taste it. But then again, if you're doing espresso, that's a different ball game.
Right. That's what we usually do is espresso, like an Americano.
Yeah. Oh, no. Not a big Americano fan. I'm a big espresso fan, though. I have my brother's espresso machine here now, and I'm really trying to get a hold of latte art, but I still haven't mastered the skill.
Well, that was my follow-up question is why is latte art so impossible?
I know, it is really.
It's impossible.
What is it? I've tried so hard, and every single time I think like, this is the day I'm going to nail it. And then, no, it's not.
You have to go in with confidence though. You have to just like, your milk is perfectly steamed, perfectly textured.
Yes.
And it's just every time make a cloud. It's just a cloud every time.
I know. I just don't understand why can't I do it. I'm thinking maybe it's I don't know. I think we have the same espresso machine actually. You have the Breville?
Yeah.
Yeah. It has to be something with the machine, right?
That's what I think too.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, we'll settle on that.
So okay, powerlifting again.
Sorry.
No, that's all good. That's all good. I think that side of our guests is awesome. Be able to dive into some of that stuff. So in 2017, I think this was your biggest total, the 642.5.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Was there anything special or different that you did heading into that meet, or were there a number of conditions that kind of lined up? Like what do you think led to that being such a great performance for you?
I don't know, actually. I was considering pulling out from that meet, to be honest.
Really? Okay. I think you were mentioning that you were, feeling pretty beat up around that sort of 2017 to 2019-ish range.
Yeah. 2017, I think it was maybe in the beginning of the fall, like late summer. I started having issues with my adductor magnus.
Okay.
And then what did I do? I fell and hurt my ankle, I think. So squatting was painful.
Not great.
Deadlifting was painful.
Yeah.
But I think that started from the beginning, like January 2017, I had so many good trainings. And so the strength was there. I just had to, get through the workouts and perform on the day. So I think I lifted on previous strength, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then another factor was the knee wraps that I got on that particular competition. Because that was the first international meet, I had a different coach.
Okay. that
wrapped differently and harder. So my squat, I think, that's my personal best in squat as well, 252.5, which was, I think it was a 12.5 kilo international PR. And
Awesome.
that wasn't because I've gained a lot of strength. It was mainly because of the knee wraps, to be honest. So
That's great, though.
equipped lifting. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your favorite knee wraps? What wraps do you like to use?
What are they called? The blue ones from titanium?
The
Titanium.
titaniums? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have the red insert ones, but then I
Iron
got
Z. Yeah.
sponsored by Titan, and I was really anxious about switching knee sleeves. To be honest, I mean knee wraps.
Yeah.
But when I tried the titanium, I think they're the best. I've also tried the harder ones, the gold, whatever they.
Oh, the signature golds. Yeah.
No, that's terrible.
No,
I had two
nice.
huge guys try to wrap me, and it was just like, I don't know. I don't understand how people squat in them.
Yeah, I think the Iron Z's and the titaniums are pretty like comparable. They probably feel pretty similarly, but even I think especially for self wraps, I've found that the gold signatures are too much for me to get enough stretch to get a good self wrap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could understand how those might feel way
What
too
kind
stiff.
of wraps do you use?
I use the THPs. So they're like the blue and yellow ones.
Yeah.
I find they're just a little bit stiffer than the titaniums, but they still have like a good amount of stretch to them, so I can self wrap pretty easily in them. Yeah, I like those ones. I started in the gold signatures and I'd get like 5 revolutions around my knee and be like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, but then I never self wrap, so.
I guess, yeah. That's again one of the lucky parts of being on a team, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we have some questions that we took from listeners, so we'll make our way through these. And you kind of already touched on this one. Somebody's asking about your deadlift frequency, which you said was 2 times a week now, right? But what are your favorite deadlift variations? I know you said you like doing some conventional for your sumo. Is there anything else that you really find kind of makes your sumo go?
I like doing slow sumos.
Okay.
So slow from the bottom and then stop under knee, explosive from the knee, and then slow descent again. I really think they help your technique, your form, because in sumo, that's the most important thing. You can get away with like rushing and missing your form, but not if you're at your max. It's just going to stop. So for just fine-tuning the right technique, I really like that one. Other than that, I just like conventionals and regular sumo, I guess.
Cool.
I've gone more and more towards just keeping it basic, to be honest.
Keeping it simple. I like it.
Yeah, keeping it simple. And also standing on blocks is a very good way to
get so like a deficit sumo?
Yeah. Get into position, like force your hips to go into that position, and it's going to be easier to get the right hip position for me in regular deadlifts when not standing on blocks. Yeah.
Cool.
So I don't know, maybe this is less applicable because you kind of got pushed into the equipped world. But what are your thoughts on when a raw powerlifter should look to try to get into equipment? Do you think there's a time, or just kind of go for it? Or just don't because it's stupid?
Just don't, yeah. That was my initial thought. But then I did, and then, well, yeah. I do think people should be lifting for some time before they try equipment. Not throw on knee wraps and bench shirts, the first week they're powerlifting or lifting at all. So I do think they need to build up some strength and proper form. Once you've done that, then, I don't know, trying to lure them into the world by telling them how exciting it is, how hard it is. Everyone can squat, from A to B in knee sleeves or without knee sleeves, like raw. But mastering the equipped squat is something so different. But I think you have to be, I don't know, a certain person as well. You have to like the challenge. You have to, get triggered by the fact it's hard and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of pain. You have to have that kind of motivation.
Yeah,
I-
that's true.
Maybe a lot of lifters are thinking now, hell no.
I mean, it's definitely, yeah, it's kind of a barrier to entry. But I think it definitely appeals to a certain kind of person. I think I agree with that.
And I think, thinking back now, I think a lot of it had to do with me being scared of it, to be honest.
Was it like scared of it, so that made you think
Yeah,
that it was stupid?
Yeah, before I
Mhm.
started trying it, I think I was a little bit scared as well. What if I can't handle it, or what if something breaks, or just it looks brutal, and it is.
Yeah, I think those
Um,
are pretty normal thoughts.
yeah, but then I had really good help, starting out with nice suits that weren't too tight and not super tight knee wraps the first times and stuff.
Mhm.
Just to ease into it, I think will help as well.
I think a bunch of equipped lifters talking about how much it hurts probably doesn't help either. And I mean, like, I think it does hurt to a point, but like, I don't know. Like, if I think about squatting in a suit, it's like in the moment I don't really feel any, like, it doesn't like it hurts at the time. It's like afterwards, you're like, oh man, like, the suit marks on my legs are really sore. But like during the squat, it's like it's almost like you're sniffing ammonia the whole time because you're just amped up the whole time from the pressure. But
Yeah.
so don't think it hurts too much.
No, you don't think about the pain as much though.
Just
Except
about
for
surviving.
every single meet I do, I think like when you're prepping for the lat squat, and the coach is wrapping your knees, and you're already sore from the first 2 attempts. I
Mhm.
think every single time, like, why the hell am I doing this? Why even bother? Just stop, And then you go do the squat, and then you get a good lift. It's like, oh my god, this is the best feeling ever. And then you
It's an
forget
emotional
about
roller coaster.
Yeah, it is. But then again, if it doesn't hurt when wrapping knees, you get even more worried because you're gonna fall through. You're not gonna get any help.
Right. Do you have any tips for breaking in equipment? Anything that you like to do early on in the training cycle, or when you get a new piece of gear?
No, not really. I just put it on.
Just use it.
Pretty much. Yeah, I think if you're new to gear, you want to start out with something you can, be comfortable in, fairly comfortable, hit depth without dying, and that kind of stuff. This, I think, and also with bench shirts, deadlift is like, easier. But with bench shirts, not going too tight, so you can't, touch, and so it doesn't feel like a struggle from the beginning. Let the
Right.
pain and the struggle come a little bit later when you're already, on the chase for bigger weights.
Yes, exactly. I agree with that for sure.
So how do you, if you're doing an equipped day, like say you're doing a equipped squat or equipped deadlift, how do you warm up? Do you warm up mostly raw until it gets heavy, or do you like in the gear right away to try and work the path?
I usually warm up raw, just, I don't know how many percentages, like 90% raw, pretty much. So when I've done my heaviest trainings before, when I trained with Dietmar, I always did squat, bench, and deadlift equipped in training on the same day.
Okay.
And always heavy lifts raw first, and then heavy lifts equipped. So I basically did 2 meets, 1 raw meet and 1 equipped meet in training. So
And that
I
was
remember,
once a week?
No, are you crazy? No, I would die. That was maybe once a month
Okay.
ish. And getting closer to the meet, we do like mock meets or whatever you would call it. I don't know. Just getting used to having the all 3 lifts in one day, which I think for a lot of lifters that aren't used to lifting all 3 in one day, it can be kind of exhausting coming to competition, and it's the first time you're doing equipped squat, bench, and deadlift and it's, competition day, you're probably going to be really exhausted by the time you're going to start deadlifting. So I think it's a big advantage to have those trainings as well, even though they are really brutal. You just can't plan anything for the next day because you're just dead.
So along that vein, how often do you get into your equipment? Does that change throughout your training cycle, or do you have sort of blocks of time where you're in it, say, every week, or what's that look like?
It depends, really. Right now, I haven't lifted equipped since before Worlds. I've done equipped bench because I was training for bench nationals, which was unfortunately canceled because of COVID-19. But then I did bench shirt once a week, which felt good. I think I will continue with that when start prepping for the next meet as well. But then squat and deadlift maybe every second week.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how my body feels, really, because
Okay.
I'm, the new approach now. So
Right.
going to just feel whatever, I don't know, whatever I feel like.
Feel it out a little bit.
Whatever I need in
Mm-hmm.
terms of training proper technique and form. Sometimes everything feels good. Everything is like on spot with the deadlifts. I don't need as many trainings as I might do with squats or whatever. It depends.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything that you like to do for recovery? Do you do bike rides? Do you go sit in the sauna? Do you do any crazy, like, what's that, like gun thing with a little ball that like hits you a bunch of times?
Yeah, I have one of
Do you do any of that kind of? You do? Okay, all right.
I think I have everything that you can for recovery.
Okay.
I have that gun thing, and I use cupping sometimes.
Okay.
I also have like a mini sauna. But now I don't use it too much because I don't need to, because my body's feeling good. I think I've acquired all those things because I've had a lot of pain, basically. But I do like to do yoga, which I
Cool.
feel helps, keeping flexibility and feeling not like a glow stick, pretty much.
Sure, yeah. Like snap, crackle, pop every time you're moving your limbs. Yeah, okay.
And I like to go on hikes and walks.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How often do you do yoga stuff?
Whenever I feel like it.
Awesome. Okay, I'm starting to get like a pretty complete picture here of the Marte training system.
It hasn't been this way, earlier, but it seems like it's working now.
Yeah,
So
it seems like a good
continue
healthy
with that.
approach.
Yeah.
So you have a fairly distinct patented deadlift lockout, left right, or is it right left?
I think it's right left.
Is that
know.
a result of the adductor injury, or do you
Yeah.
think it's
I think it is, because I didn't used to lock out like that. I think that came about in like 2017. 16, 17, I don't know. I think it's related. I do. I've had some really good trainings, like the training I did before Arnold's. I pulled 250 twice in one training, and like really smooth and locking out the knees at the same time, and not before I was, on the way back with the bar. I don't know why that happens, to be honest. I think it does have something to do with the issues I've had as well. Because after the Dr. Magnus was healing, I also got some hip issue that's not like completely resolved yet, but it's getting there during 2018 and 19. So I think that's a part of it. It's not something I take pride in.
It's
I
not a
try
secret.
to, yeah.
Not-
No, it's not the secret sauce. I wouldn't try, for, nope. I wouldn't recommend it. That's not something I coach.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So I have my own personal question that I ask all of our guests. Stian said in response to this question, never, it's not natural. But do you ever do reps in full gear? Anything more than singles? Maybe doubles, triples, sets of 5, anything like that? Have you used that?
I think I did with Dietmar. I
Okay.
remember some brutal triples.
Okay.
With the bench shirt I have. And
Yep.
that was on my own initiative, actually. But with squats, I think the most I will do is 2.
Okay.
Maybe if we'll see how training goes. I've been thinking about getting a bigger suit just to train my form because my squat hasn't been good in a long time. Well, since 2017, basically, with equipped. So I'm thinking about buying a bigger suit and doing some reps with lighter weights, of course, but trying to get the feel of where I should be at and working with the form, which is a little bit harder when you're in the competition suit and everything is super duper tight and you're going to start doing triples and 5 reps. That's no.
So it's not natural.
No,
going
that's
back,
not natural.
Going back to the bench, you said you do use multiple reps. Are you a board person, or do you just kind of ghost it when you're doing your reps to the bench? Or sorry, when you're doing reps on the shirted bench, or are you like touching all of your reps? What does that look like?
Well, I started something new, or my new and improved the powerlifting life.
Uh-huh.
Or my goal this first semester was bench nationals. I was really going to focus on a quick bench because that is my Achilles heel, and that is something I'm aware of. So I've been working on it and started in January with a tighter shirt, and it felt really good. So my approach then was to take it. I started doing boards and then pretty high, and then decreasing until I touched maybe, I don't know, 3-4 trainings, but then went back up and did some boards just to trying to not only get stronger but also work on some mental issues with bench, because it's not been a friend of mine, even though I worked so hard trying to make it my friend. But for so many times, it's starting to improve, and then I get a shoulder injury or something happens. So this time I try to be smarter, and work better with the shirt. And it was going really well. And for the first time in history, I was actually looking forward to doing a bench meet.
Awesome.
And it got canceled.
That's a bummer, but it's good to hear that that the bench is turning around for you. I think that's the price you pay for having a deadlift world record or 2, is that bench can be a bit of a pain in the ass sometimes.
But it doesn't have to suck that much,
Yeah, exactly. And that I think is the right mental approach to it too, is like, it sucks, but you just put more work into it and get that stupid thing moving.
Yeah.
Cool. We also had one question, and I think I remember you talking about this doing this after Sweden, but I think you started doing a lot more running. Someone asked if you're still planning to run a half marathon this year.
Still, I never planned on doing a half marathon. No. Who told you that?
Someone on the internet asked that.
No, never. No, I did some running after Worlds 2018. But that was mainly because I applied some place where I had to do physical tests. So I had to run, which was not fun at all. But I did get better at running though. But as soon as the tests were over, I stopped. And now I do enjoy running once a while, actually, just for recovery and getting the heart rate up.
Mhm.
Last run I have a Garmin watch. I think I got like 3 incident alarms where where you have to push some code or whatever so it doesn't like call the ambulance. So it
The
doesn't
heart
hurt.
rate got a little too high, or?
It goes high pretty fast. So it's good to train that a little bit as well, you know. But yeah, I'm never gonna do a half marathon or a full one or even a third.
Okay. So we already talked about the sort of the highlight of your lifting career, right? You were talking about 2013 Worlds in Stavanger. What would you say is the lowest point of your lifting career, and what did you learn from it?
Oh wow. My lowest was in 2018 when
Okay.
everything started going downhill. I competed, well, coming out from 2017 and 16, which were both very good years.
Mhm.
I totaled, I don't know how much I PR'd in total in 2017, but pretty good. I was really happy and really stoked for 2018. So I went to the Arnold's, and training up to the Arnold's went really good. I felt my deadlift was stronger than ever, and I pulled 250 in training 2 times at the same training, and with proper technique, it was easy, and I thought I was going to do at least 250 and plus at Arnold's.
Mm-hmm.
When we traveled to Arnold's, I traveled with Linda, which is on the national team, and Christopher and his brother. And on the way over there, Linda got really sick with the flu or influenza or whatever.
Okay.
And we had to share a bed. So I was like,
Oh.
okay, we were in this apartment together, I couldn't
Mhm.
put her outside.
Yeah.
So I remember when I started warming up for the Arnold, I was doing the deadlift only. And it was 70 kilos on the bar. And I was like, fuck, this is heavy. 70 kilos is, it's like, this is not my day. So I felt I was getting sick.
Mhm.
And I did pull 250 though. It was really heavy at Arnold. Flying back home, I got really sick. I was so sick on the plane back home. It was terrible to fly. Came back home, started a new job. So I didn't have the time to recover properly.
Right.
And, I had to start a new job and be up 8 or work 8 to 4 every day. And I just never really recovered. But even though I was sick, I still trained a little bit whenever I felt a little bit better. But then I would feel worse again. You know how it is.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But anyways, the national coach, suggested that I still do Europeans because it wouldn't be a hard match at Europeans.
Okay.
I would have to get my openers in, and I would probably win. And it turned out to be the worst competition of my life.
Okay.
Out of 8 attempts, I got 1.
Oof.
I got 1 deadlift.
Okay.
So, and the worst thing is I felt pretty strong that day. Going into the squats, it's like, okay, this is not that bad. Training hadn't been going good because I was sick all the time, but my strength was still there. But I missed my first and second one on depth, and I told my coach, I'm not gonna bomb. You have to tell me when to. You have to cue me.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes like down, 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 up, and I fight it up. I was like, yes, I'm still in it. And then I got 2 reds. I was like, ugh.
Yeesh.
That really sucked, and might have been a coincidence, but the head referee that was refereeing that day, she had given me white lights the 2 first one, The last one, she red lighted me, and then one from the side red lighted me, and she was Ukrainian, and the lifter that won when I bombed was Ukrainian, so that was good for Team Ukraine. But after bombing, I was of course sad, but I thought I'm still going to do my best and going to bench, try to focus on something good, try to do a PR on bench or whatever. And something happened in my first bench. I think the bar rolled a little bit or whatever, and missed my first bench, missed my second bench, third bench. It wasn't even, any reason to try. So I didn't go out for my last bench. Went out for my first deadlift, and then tried second and third deadlift and failed.
Oh boy.
So, okay. Yeah, that was a really tough competition. And I think a lot of different factors in my life as well made it really tough to get past, to be honest. I think I don't know, it got really into me, because you don't just disappoint yourself, you disappoint everyone else as well. And you feel that, you go to Europeans and you represent your country, even though I've been doing this for 10 years and I've showed that I'm capable, you still want to show up and make your nation proud, right? So that's one part of it. And then the worst part is letting yourself down. Just, it's like you could have been deeper, you could have been doing this, you could have been doing that, really hard on yourself. And I think I developed like post powerlifting competition trauma or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it really stuck with me. So for going into I took some time off, like completely off.
Yeah.
And but we had nationals in August that year, so I had to get into training and equip training pretty soon after. And I just remember getting back under the bar with the squat suit and knee sleeves and knee wraps. It was terrible. It was this feeling I can't even describe. I wasn't afraid of squatting in training, but it was just some emotion, something that I was on the verge of crying every single training towards that meet. And I'm not a crying person really, but I don't know, that meet just really hit me somehow and stuck with me. And for the nationals as well, I was so scared of bombing. I was more scared of that than I was of anything else, because if I would have bombed there, it would be such a hard way getting back into it again. I think I would just fall even deeper down. But luckily I think I did 3 good squats and I totaled just under my PR.
Okay.
So it was a good, way to come back from it. But it was really tough. And just still thinking back to that competition, it's just like, ugh, a pleasant competition.
What do you think that you've learned from that? Like, what are some of are there positives that you were able to take away? Are there things that you found ways to find success again, to obviously come back to where you are now, feeling healthy and excited? And how did you handle that situation, and how did you get yourself past that? And maybe what did you learn?
Right away, I felt like I didn't learn anything. But in retrospect, I've learned a lot. And I think you learn the most from the competitions that go really bad, But I think that competition and everything went downhill from there. Even though if nationals was pretty okay, worlds that year was pretty shit. I didn't do Europeans the next year in 2019. because my body wasn't feeling very good. And also, Worlds last year wasn't my best. So because I didn't take my health seriously in training or in general, I just pushed on and thought I could just, forget about the fact that I'm actually sick. Set me back like a year, 2 years. So that's why I'm doing like a new approach now where my health is first. I know now that if I'm sick, I'm not strong. And if I'm not healthy, my body isn't going to work with me.
Right.
So that's the biggest change, really. And I guess I had to have a really bad competition and bad experience to really understand it, because I think my whole career I've been like, you have to do adjustments and you have to listen to your body, but not to the extent that I am doing now. Like I'm so much more relaxed and comfortable. Even when I was training towards bench nationals, I was flexible when I was going to have my shirt on, because my shoulders are feeling shit today. I'm not going to bench today at all. I might do push-ups or whatever. And then putting on the bench shirt again when I felt better, I experienced like, wow, I'm actually strong today. So it's been a long way. But I think I grew stronger from that competition as well, even though it's like, it hurts thinking about it. I don't know, it was really, really bad.
That's cool. I think, again, that just like speaks to the whole sort of, I guess the whole sort of attitude change and change in your approach to lifting. I think hopefully a lot of listeners can relate to that and hopefully avoid that meet that you had, right?
I strongly agree, avoiding those meets. And the worst thing was because with the one lift that I got gold in deadlift.
Oh, really?
So when I came back to work, everyone was like, "Hey, congratulations! You did amazing!"
And you're like, "No, that was..."
And then like balloons everywhere, and I was like, "No." But I couldn't. They don't understand powerlifting. I just had to be like, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was great." Fuck. So that was just like, I felt it was like rubbing in my face, but they meant well, of course. They thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
So, who have you had some big inspirations over the years, or is there anyone you kind of looked up to as you started progressing in the sport? And maybe it doesn't necessarily need to be powerlifters or anything like that, but is there anyone that you kind of identify with?
I don't know I don't think I have any particular. I get inspiration from a lot of different people. Recently, I've competed with Rhea for many, many years, and seeing her progression she's having the last couple of years now is just, for me, that is really inspirational, because I can relate to it as well, being an older lifter. I've been in this game for quite some time, and a lot of people think like, oh, you're not going to lift anything more, you're not going to have huge progress, because maybe you get like 2.5 kilos here and 2.5 kilos there, but people, including myself, kind of sometimes maybe think that you have used up your potential. But then Rhea's been lifting since 2004, 6?
3. Yeah,
3. Yeah. I mean, it's so inspirational, and I know that she's a hard worker. Nothing is a given. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come. It might come naturally, but everything she has to work for, and I think that's very inspirational. And I don't mean to talk down on the people that have extreme success from the start. That's good for them. That's really good for them. But personally, I don't find that as inspirational as people like Rhea, that's been a hard worker from day one. And never gives up. And now after 10, 15 years in the sport, she has had that massive progress that nobody really expected. I was used to placing before Ria on meets, but then something really, really good happened with her training, and I think it had a lot to do with experimenting with the gear as well. But her progress is, I think it's really inspirational to see, and it's so earned, and I'm so happy for her because I know how hard she's been working for it. So I think the longevity of it is one of the things that I think is inspirational. A lot of people here in Norway as well, especially Heidi Hille Arnesen in the 84s. Yep. She's 50 this year, I think, something like that. And she's just fighting on. And a lot of people here, I know she's been on the national team for a long time. And she's a master. She's a master 2 soon. So a lot of people have, or I'm not going to say a lot, but I know of some people that I'd be like, can't you just like give up the space for someone young and aspiring, you know? But no, she's still progressing and she's still making, I mean, she PR'd at Worlds. She's closing in on like 262 in the squats. And she was, for a long time, she was stuck at like 230, 240. And I've seen her the whole way. I've seen what she's struggled with, the periods that you get with feeling insecure, losing belief in yourself for a period of time, and then, you know, crawling up from that ditch and just fighting back and getting not just out of the ditch, but on the top. I think that's something I really get inspired to see. And not a particular person or idol, maybe. But stories like that are really good.
That's a great answer. What's one piece of advice that you wish you could give to yourself when you were just starting out, or what would be one piece of advice you'd give to somebody just getting into this?
That's a great question. I think I want to say, don't rush yourself, and be in it for the long game. Or you should want to be in for the long game.
Right.
I mean, not everyone is prepared to make it their lifestyle and be in powerlifting forever. I get that, but I think that is what makes the best lifters. I think a lot of lifters can come in and make great totals and have insane genes, I guess, that just, you know, your progress is unheard of. But then they disappear because when it gets hard and when you're not PRing 40 kilos at every meet, it's not fun anymore. And powerlifting or sports in general isn't always fun. So you have to learn to love it in a different way and not just the progress.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think that echoes a lot of sentiments that Ryan and I share as well.
Yeah, that's good.
So, and I think our last question here is, do you have any concrete goals you're kind of aiming for right now, or you have in mind right now, looking maybe to Worlds this year coming up in Norway? Fingers crossed.
I have some numbers because I've reached like the 250s now, the goal of 250 squat, 250 deadlift. So I guess the closest one is like 260. 260, 160, 260 would be nice, just to, you know, keep it simple, easy to remember. But I've had also experience with being too fixated on numbers previously. That might have ruined some meets for me. Well, when you miss a lift and be like, oh, I'm not going to make that number. And I've been working on not focusing too much on that, even though having a certain weight you want to hit is good. It's a goal to work towards. But now I want to do a better competition. That's my goal. It sounds like a boring goal maybe, but if I do a good competition as well, the kilos are gonna follow, So I think that's my goal, and not go back to 2018 ever again. Make lifts, and especially focus on my bench. Trying to get some PRs out there, because I think that will help my total a lot as well. So trying to dare to set some goals in the bench and not think of it as just surviving, pretty much.
Just laying down between squat and deadlift.
Yeah, you can relate.
I can a little bit. Still try to make some of those same adjustments in terms of how I approach it. So
yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's pretty much what we've got for today. If you want to take a quick second and shout out anything that you're working on, or where people can find you, contact you, anything like that you're excited about, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm just writing my master's thesis now. I don't have anything else to think about, to be honest.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But you can follow me on Instagram. I don't know. But if you're following the Equipped Bruce, then no, sorry, what is it again?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was
Equipped
it. Bruce tired.
And tired, of course. Yeah, I could relate to that.
Yeah.
You're probably going to tag me or something anyways. So
yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know. Are we putting people's Instagrams in the show notes and stuff, Ryan?
Yeah, I've totally figured out how to do that.
Okay, perfect.
I listened to your first introduction podcast today.
Oh, really?
In the car with my mom.
Okay.
And she said, I think it was your voice, Ryan. She's like, oh, that man has such a comfortable voice.
It is. It's very soothing.
So I think you guys are gonna do good with this podcast, and I think it's a really good initiative to get equipped lifters more out there, and also educating people. And I think maybe we need to be better about talking about equipped lifting, and not, as you pointed out, Brian, not just saying how much it hurts, but talk about some of the positive sides as well.
Definitely.
Maybe we should get better at that as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of our goals. Hey, Ryan?
Yeah, I think so.
To try to, I don't know, make it seem a little more accessible and demystify it a little bit.
Even though the title of the podcast is Equipped, Bruised, and Tired, but Equipped, Bruised, Tired, and Fun. Maybe that's what it should be.
And yes, and extremely fun and challenging in a novel way. It didn't fit in the title box.
Oh, so it's, okay. That was in the
We had to shorten it a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think Equipped, Bruised, and Tired, a lot of people in equipped lifting can relate to that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, awesome. Again, thank you very, very much for coming on. This was a fantastic interview, and we were very happy to have you. So
thank you for having me. It's been great.
All right. We want to thank you for listening to the Equipped, Bruised, and Tired podcast. We're going to be available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever fine podcasts are found. So make sure to leave your 5-star rating if you enjoyed the show, and a review as well, and or check out our video version of the show on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions for ourselves, guest suggestions, or questions for our guests, you can go ahead and contact us at equippedbruisedtired@gmail.com, and make sure to do your part to spread the word of the Equipped Renaissance. We'll see you next time.